Okay, welcome everyone. We're going to be doing tonight a special training on community solar for the two markets of Illinois and Virginia. We're expanding rapidly as a company, so we're excited to share the latest two markets that are coming live. So we're going to kind of go through a training with everyone to give you some details on the market, some specifics, and really importantly, because we're going to be launching this market tomorrow morning, we want to make sure everybody knows how to hit the ground running, being able to do enrollments properly. As we are partnering up with a lot of different partners out there, we go ahead and kind of gather all the information through the Think Hub, and then we train on how to go through that enrollment process with each partner. So we're super excited tonight for these two markets. It's been a long time coming. We've got a lot of people that are super excited to start enrolling customers as soon as possible. That will happen tomorrow morning. So we're super excited. Phil, you with us?
Yep. The one thing that before we jump in that I want to just kind of state is that Illinois is one of those states that's going to require specific training and certification. And that's a regulatory for the state of Illinois. So if you haven't gone into the back office yet or responded to the email for the Thinkific course for the state of Illinois, once you take that certification course, and it's probably about 40 slides and a couple of quick questions for you to jump through, and then you just submit a photo so that we can get your badge. And the badge just has to be readily accessible. Then you'll be able to have that product activated in your cart. So whenever customers go out and go to your Get link, you'll see those Illinois community solar products in your cart. So that's the one thing that has to happen for the state of Illinois in order to get the products in your cart. You got to go through that training. If you guys are having any problems or issues with getting certified, just reach out to EA support and we'll be sure to kind of get you guys sorted quickly. So
Phil, let me ask you that question. When someone goes through that certification process and they complete it, how quickly does their cart turn on?
Almost instantly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So the only barrier to entry to start enrolling Illinois customers is to go through the certification.
Yep, exactly.
All right, let's jump into it. All right, so we know what, who is Think Energy? Our company, we are a forward-thinking retail energy company making clean energy easy, affordable, and accessible for everyone. A leading player in the industry, Think Energy leverages innovative technology and their proprietary sales force, Think Plus, that's what we are, is the Think Plus network, to revolutionize how people think about energy consumption. All right, to Illinois. So as I understand this market, I'm really excited about it because we're in the entire state, right, Phil?
Correct. Yep. There are 45 community solar farms in the state of Illinois that we are actively trying to find customers for. That is a massive amount of capacity that need to fill, right? And it's both in Ameren and in ComEd. And there are two different types of products here, right? We have what we call open, where open it's available to everybody. And with this being a utility consolidated billing market, it's very simple for people to save that 5%. But if you're an LMI customer, a low to moderate income customer, and you have to prove that, right? So you have to provide documentation. The customer must provide documentation supporting their LMI eligibility. And in this particular state, you can use food stamps, EBT cards, free or reduced school lunch voucher, Medicaid, Section 8 housing, all of those criteria. When they go to sign up, if they provide that documentation proving that they are qualified by one of these qualifications, they're going to save an additional 5%. And so, but the beauty of this is, like, with a utility consolidated bill, they can have the same experience with their utility and just save an extra 10%. That's very low friction on the enrollment flow and massive amount of savings for customers.
Real quick question on that, Phil. So you can see as we go through the chart here, the two utilities, right? And then the type is open and LMI. So it's got both. Unified billing, all right? So unified consolidated billing is UCB. That means that it's very easy. It's just a credit that will show up on the bill. Now, Phil, if I enroll, go ahead.
On the presentation, like the billing, we're going to get into the details on the billing.
Right. So
We-
let's say I enroll as a customer and I know I qualify for one of these things, but I just can't easily access it right now, but I want to get the enrollment through. Can I enroll under open enrollment and then send in the LMI qualification after the fact?
Yes, you can. We
Okay.
can, basically, customers can go and enroll, get on flow for the open product, and then we can work to get them on one of the LMI products if we find that they are eligible for that and they have the documentation for it.
Perfect. Great news.
All right. All right. So yeah, these 45 community solar farms, they're all across the state. So there's lots of capacity there, right? And then in Virginia, we're talking similar thing. There's not as much capacity in Virginia because Illinois is the hot market right now, but there are more community solar farms coming online with Virginia. But Virginia is a similar thing though. It's utility consolidated billing, very simple experience for the customer. Again, qualifications are going to be food stamps, reduced school lunch, Medicaid, Medicare, Section 8 housing, and it's a great product there too. Right now,
Phil, let me ask you a quick question about Virginia. Because I know we have a lot of people that are starting to build down there. When it says opportunity zones, is there a way that is there a way to find out what the opportunity zones are?
yeah, in our Think Success post that we're going to be posting, we're going to give you a list of all of those zip codes that are eligible. We're just finalizing that list with Arcadia right now.
That's huge. And that means that if somebody lives in that zip code, they're already like kind of pre-qualified to just enroll without any documentation because they live in an opportunity zone.
Yep. And so when the customer goes through the enrollment flow, they're going to know immediately based on their zip code when they go through the Arcadia experience that they're eligible for it. It's just, you guys just need to be made aware of which zip codes are the ones for you guys to go after so that way you can market effectively to the customers.
That's great news.
And then right now we only have 2 community solar farms, but again, as we start to fill up those 2 farms, we'll work with Arcadia with getting more farms. There's lots of capacity coming here, so don't let that 2 number scare you. The big thing here is that we got to kind of take a look at what the enrollment process looks like, right? And so we kind of put together some pre-enrollment tips, like be comfortable speaking to the shared benefits of community solar, right? It's good for you. It's good for customer bank accounts, the environment. It helps the local economy because remember, community solar is all about local power generation. You're actually adding green energy to the local grid. And because of all the value that you generate through community solar, it's great for your business because they're allowed to take advantage of that savings. It's promoting their local economy. It's promoting self-reliance on power. It's local, it's green, it's fantastic. And just the one thing to be sure of though is like when you're working with these customers, you always want to make sure that they have access to their utility information for them to kind of get through the enrollment. And I'll show you what the enrollment flow is going to look like. All right, so in the first step, obviously, what everybody's kind of familiar with, you go to thinkenergy.com and the prospective customer goes ahead and enters their zip code to check to see if there's any products available. When they do that, they're going to see a series of products. We're using Illinois as an example right now. And in Virginia, you won't see any retail energy products because we're only doing community solar. So you'll see this community solar. And in this case, we're stating it's a minimum of 5% discount. Now it can be more, obviously, if they're eligible for LMI, but we have to, for regulatory compliance reasons, we have to state what the minimum amount is. So in this case, it's 5%. And when they go to click on the offer details, they'll see that there's a 10% savings for LMI customers. And so once they click on that product, customers need to provide their name and email and contact details. And then there's a little checkbox here, just acknowledging the services agreement and things of that nature, and they hit next. Now, once they hit next, they get directed to our partner, Arcadia, where they're going to complete their enrollment flow. Illinois and Virginia are the only two markets that we have this kind of hybrid cart experience with Think Energy. And a lot of it has to do with just the regulatory nature of those two markets and a lot of the complexity around those two markets. There's a reason why very few players are involved in community solar in those two markets, because it's very difficult to work in. But the beauty of having Proton is that we actually have the ability to work in complicated environments. And so this is one of those environments, right? So they enter that information, it says that they're going to be redirected to Arcadia Power to complete their sign up. And then they're going to have the Arcadia cart pre-populated with everything that they already filled out. And so it's going to ask for them to fill in the rest of the information. They'll have to select their utility, put in their phone number, and then generate a password. So once they do that, customers are going to then be asked for eligibility documentation to prove that they're LMI. And so they can choose whatever specification they want. And in the case of the opportunity zone, if they are in that zip code, it'll automatically show that. They can skip this step, but if they're trying to apply for LMI, then they need to make sure that they have selected whatever criteria that they need to in order to prove that eligibility. So when you select that, you'll be able to upload the corresponding documentation. LMI is extremely important. This is the most difficult part around this enrollment flow for community solar, but it's also the reason why it's able to generate such a huge amount of value for that customer. Because a lot of these programs were designed to help people that were struggling with their utility bills, struggling with the expense. And that's why there's all this increased savings for them. Now, once they go through that, now they have to actually connect the utility account. So there's a slight difference between Illinois and Virginia. So in Virginia, because of the complexity of this market, you're required to link their utility account with Arcadia. So it requires them to provide their utility username and password, giving Arcadia access to their Dominion portal, because they have to scrape a lot of historic usage. There's a lot of back-end work that has to take place. So when it comes to Virginia, you're going to want to make sure, and a lot of the customers in Virginia are very much used to this, right? But they need to have their utility login and password so that way they can log in. Once they do that, all the back end is very simple with finding, all of their historic usage, managing the allocations and all those other process. But the biggest friction point you guys are going to come across is making sure that customers in Virginia have their utility login credentials.
So Phil, on that note, it's very simple to get username, password to set up your account. If a customer says, I've never logged into my account before, that's no problem. That's a piece of cake. They'll probably need their bill to reference numbers to be able to register and get a username and password. But it's really important. It also alleviates the need to have to upload a bill to Arcadia because they're able to just sync it directly together. So it's a friction point, but people will start getting very used to it, and it will happen without even thinking about it after a while.
And let me also say this, because this is a utility consolidated billing experience, it's not like they're having to deal with multiple bills. Like once you get through this initial hurdle, the enrollment flow and the user experience with having just a singular bill, you don't have to pay for credits and then balance those credits off of their utility account to make sure everything's going. It's a seamless experience. And like the biggest friction that people have with community solar is this idea of dual billing. And so with having utility consolidated billing, it's a much better experience for customers. So that way they just get to realize the savings. And that's really what we want for them.
Awesome.
So in the case of Illinois, they can have two choices, right? Virginia is the only one where they have to enter the credentials. In the case of Illinois, they can provide their utility login credentials, or they can actually just enter their account information and the meter number. And what we do is we provide you here a sample of the bill where you can see the account number and you can see the meter number. And if you input that information, then they don't even need to put in their utility login credentials. So Illinois is one state where we can at least make this a little easier, where they don't need to be able to have login credentials, because in Illinois, only about 50% of customers have utility login credentials. So if they have it, great, they can enter it, no problem. If they don't have it, just get a copy of their bill, help them find the account number and the meter number, go ahead and enter it on that page, and then they're good to go. And then they're going to hit this confirm enrollment period, right? And so they're going to see what their guaranteed savings is. Once they get allocated, they'll see their name, their email address to finalize the enrollment, and they just click looks good to me, and they're off. And so in the case of Illinois, again, there's a reason why there is so much availability, because it is such a difficult market from a legal perspective, that we have to basically have a DocuSign link that will populate for the customer. And so they'll sign that disclosure form just right on the computer, go through it, and that's the end. And then once they're done with that last step for Illinois, their enrollment is complete. Arcadia will have everything that they need, and then they can work on getting allocated to a community solar farm.
Wow, that's awesome.
Make sense?
Yep.
Perfect. And so now once they go through that entire thing, what's the post referral process look like? Now, in both of these markets, once they've completed enrollment, they're going to get a text message, because we have to have a TPV in Illinois and Virginia. Again, back to this whole regulatory process in those two states. So after they complete it, they're going to receive a text message and an email. And so basically they can click on the link, and then a person is going to come on, confirm a couple of bits of information, and they're going to go ahead and read off the number, agree to what is said on the phone, and then the enrollment is finalized and complete, and that's it for the customer. Here's a sample of what they're probably going to be saying, like, thank you for calling Arcadia verification line. They're going to verify the contact information. Do you agree with what's going on? They're going to say, yes, I agree. And then they're going to say, thank you for going green. We really appreciate it. Your enrollment is complete. Now, we will not be doing TPVs in Maryland and Rhode Island. This is purely for Illinois and Virginia. That's part of the reason why we have so much opportunity in these two markets, is that it really, the beauty of why I see community solar a great value for the network is because community solar is a great product. It's an absolutely amazing product, but it requires this personal relationship, and it requires education. And so by educating these customers about the value that community solar brings, and how you can help guide them through that enrollment process, is really what allows us to bring all these community solar providers together, saying, hey, we've got this amazing group of people that understand community solar, that can help walk people through it and really translate that value into the everyday person, so everybody can start to experience that savings. And so that's why it's so critically important that everybody on here tonight understands what this kind of customer flow looks like, so that way they can help these people with understanding how it works, how they can realize the savings. And then once they're done, doesn't matter what happens to utility prices, they're always going to save money.
You know, you think about it, Phil, on this note, the perfect marriage is a great product that has value for customers and network marketing. And the disconnect is the educational part in between. If a company went out and spent millions of dollars on mailers or on door knockers, going to a stranger's house and going through this process, the mailers will never work because they get to points and they just give up. The door knockers are like, who's going to give this information to a stranger? So network marketing is the perfect solution to gather large amounts of customers. And you think about it, you're going to go through a 5 to 10 minute experience walking people through getting enrolled as a customer. What are they going to get in return? They're going to get a minimum of a 5% credit on their bill for the next 20 years, every single month. That is true value. If you really equate the time that is spent versus the long-term value, there's nothing better than community solar. It really is amazing.
It doesn't matter what happens to the rates and products, like if they sign up with different providers, it doesn't matter, because no matter what, as long as they're a subscriber to that community solar program product, they're always going to save money. That's the idea of it. And so you want to talk about residuals, you want to talk about things moving forward, like you want to talk about stickiness with your customers and engagement, you got it right there.
Bingo.
So let's talk about utility consolidated billing, right? Utility consolidated billing is basically where the community solar program directly integrates with their existing utility bill, and they maintain their usual payment process. It's a similar experience if they didn't have community solar, but with utility consolidated billing, now you're bundling the savings of community solar with the utility bill, and both Illinois and Virginia are both utility consolidated markets. So you see here, here's a sample bill, right? Where they are subscribing to a community solar farm here in ComEd, and their utility bill price, thanks to the community solar farm, goes down to $221.22. They saved $14.30 just by being a community solar member and signing up for that product. That's it.
Set it and forget it.
Set it and forget it.
It's pretty amazing.
And the beauty of UCB is you literally see these are the supply charges, transmission charges, here's the savings. Great. That 10 minutes is going to save me $14.30 per month for the next 20 years.
You could do the math on that, like, times 14 times 12 times 20. I
Yep.
mean, it's great value.
Yep.
And the only reason why,
$2,700. My mental math might be off.
yeah, right.
Good.
But I'll tell you, the only reason why someone's not on the farm already is because they simply don't know it exists until you reach out to them. That's it.
Yep. It's really about awareness building and then helping them go through that enrollment flow and then realize that savings for the next 20 years. All right. Q&A time.
Q&A time. I know there's still quite a few people on here. I know there's, Brad had mentioned that there was 300 people already just in the state of Illinois that have already gone through their certification. So I'm sure we got
Eddie, this is Mike Karcheski. How you doing?
Great, buddy. How are you?
Good. Quick question for you. I thought that the community solar was a savings on the supply and the delivery. And I noticed in Illinois on that bill, it was just a discount on the supply only.
So it varies state by state, but I can confirm in Illinois, the discount is only on the supply.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, this is John Saya in Virginia. I wanted to know, since LMI is, if I'm reading this correctly and hearing this correctly, is all that's available in Virginia right now.
Right.
What is the outlook for everyone else getting on community solar? They're going to have to wait, I guess, for more farms to be built, et cetera, or is it a policy issue that only LMI customers will be available?
I believe it's a policy issue down there. It's right now, it's only qualified for LMI, but as demand grows, there's no doubt about it that they'll be instituting open enrollments.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Hey, Phil, this is Ed. On the DocuSign document for Illinois, how does that show up in the workflow? Is it in the enrollment or do they get a separate email?
It's directly in the enrollment flow. So after they done and they say it looks good, you hit that button, there is a window that's going to pop up with the DocuSign for them to sign.
And will they be able to just click sign, or do they have to, so it'll have their name pre-populated potentially?
Yeah, you go through the clicks, right? Like we've all done a DocuSign here and there, and just you accept and you hit the clicks and all the spots that it tells you to. It's pretty quick. It took me about 6 seconds.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Bill, I got a question. Jason from Illinois here. So I'm a solar guy. I put solar on roofs. They got net metering. So I'm imagining the net metering will show up underneath the community solar credit, because I believe they can just 200 kilowatt from the grid is the minimum. I don't know if that is, I'm gonna find that out, but if someone's got solar on their roof and they're not 100% offset, then they can have community solar as well. And I just saw on the bill, which is what I was looking for, is how it read. Because that reads net metering when there's solar on the roof, but now you're gonna see community solar credit as well. It doesn't cost them anything, correct? Like, that's the biggest concern that I have, because I know most community solar companies, you charge for a subscription, but this is free, correct?
It's free, but I will say a customer that has rooftop solar that's also trying to apply for community solar will most likely not be allocated to a farm. It's just there, if you look at it, you're looking at a minimum threshold of 1,500 kilowatt hours. And if they
Is that what the minimum is for Think Energy for this farm?
correct,
Is 1,500?
Yep.
How many solar? Okay, so, I mean, if someone's got solar on their roof and they're 50% offset, that means
Yeah.
they're getting 50% from the grid. That would be community solar worthy.
long as
Yeah,
they.
so what's the minimum you're saying?
1,500 is the minimum that you can enroll a customer. You will get a credit for a point, but you won't get compensation on a customer acquisition bonus. It has to be 3,600 kilowatts or more per annum in order to generate the customer acquisition bonus. So,
Through Think
So-
Energy. Okay, that's,
yeah,
Phil,
Good.
correct me if I'm wrong. New York State is the only one that does not allow two kind of solar credits, right? New Jersey, Maryland, all these other states, Ed, you're in Maryland, you have solar on your house. You're still a community solar customer. You're eligible, right? New York is the only state that legally, legislation, whatever, you cannot do both, right?
Correct.
If you have solar on your house, you cannot get another solar credit. Every other state that I know of, you can.
so here's one of the things that I do. I always ask people to get a bill. I say to them, one of my tactics, let me see if you're qualified to get on the farm instead of just giving it away, right? I just say, send me a bill and let me see if you're qualified. So they send me a bill and I'm able to look at that bill for lots of opportunity. I can see what their supply cost is. I can see how much usage they have outside of the solar panels. So I can tell right by getting a bill on and then call them back and say, great news, you're qualified for the farm. So I just look at if the house has got a big offset with the solar panels and they're going to use less than 1,500 kilowatts, I wouldn't enroll them. But if they're going to use 1,500 or more, even with the panels on their house, I would enroll them, except for New York State,
I'm sorry, is that
And-
1,500 monthly or yearly?
yearly per annum.
Thank you.
1,500 yearly. Okay.
Hey, Ed, I
So
got a
the reason
question.
I'm
This is
asking
Dirk.
that, hold on, I'm sorry, guys. The reason I'm asking that is because it's when you, on ComEd, it's 200, most farms, it's the minimum of 200 kilowatt monthly, which is one solar panel. So you just said 1,500 yearly. So that means if someone is 80% offset, they're grabbing 20% from the grid, that would be community solar worthy.
If it's over 1,500 kilowatts, you can
Got it.
enroll them, and get them qualified for a point, won't generate a cab. If it's 3,600 kilowatts per annum or more, it will generate.
Got it. Thank you.
Hey, Ed. Oh, I got a question maybe for Phil. During the enrollment, if they didn't, if they go through the process and they didn't do the DocuSign during the process, is it still there and they can go back and do it? I mean, or do they have to start over completely?
So if they break from that enrollment experience, they are going to receive an email that they did break from that enrollment experience. If they would like to complete their enrollment, it'll take them back there. However, if they don't respond to that, they would have to do a new enrollment.
Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question, Ed. Can I ask it? This is Kim.
Kim, please.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding so everybody's clear. 1,500 kilowatts annually up to 3,600, you get points, no cab. 36 more, you get cab. We're talking LMI, most likely they'll be, a lot of them will be in that 1,500 to less than 3,600 kilowatts annually for the LMI community. Do these points with Arcadia being who we're working through, do they count for 5 years or 20 years?
5 years from the
Okay.
time that they're on the farm getting their first credit. That starts the clock on the 5
And
years.
what's the estimated time frame? Like in New York, we had up to a year to be placed on a farm. What are we looking at in Illinois and Virginia, speed wise?
I'm not going to give you a definitive time frame because we're working through a couple of things, but we're talking very quick.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Phil, I had heard through the grapevine that there may be a chance for better savings in Illinois, maybe 10% and then 20% for LMI. Is because we're starting at 5 and 10, could it happen where maybe down the road the savings actually becomes a little more advantageous?
Absolutely. Like we're constantly working with IPPs to get more products in our carts. And we're going to be very clear about the availability of those products and what the discount is. So we'll be adding new products that have higher discount in time, but it all depends on the availability for IPPs. Illinois and Virginia, by the way, are going live tomorrow.
Cool.
Well,
I
I
have a
think to caveat on that, like the big thing, like the newsletter that came out today was plug in, right? That was the headline of the newsletter that came out from Think Energy today is plug in, because this is a evolving market, right? Every state is different. There's going to be different, and every developer is different. There are going to be different situations that it's going to be. You just got to stay plugged in. Our customers, I think we can say that our customers are always going to be put in the best advantageous savings that are available to them at the time. Is that fair to say, Phil?
Yep. We're working very, very hard to make sure that there are new products, maximizing the discounts, and like we're going to actively communicate with you guys on what those products are. But the one thing you have to remember about community solar is you don't want to hold out for a potentially better discount later, because there might not be availability later. Like once you hit capacity on some of these projects, we're going to start to close them down because there's no more spots available on that community solar farm. That doesn't mean that new community solar farms aren't going to be added into our product line and that we're going to make them available to customers, but there is scarcity in community solar. Even if we have a ton of projects, thousands of customers can get allocated, and then that availability starts to dwindle.
I think the most important thing for people to understand is we saw it in New York over the last 6 years, where it went from 25% savings for customers, $300 for customer acquisition bonuses, down to $60 and 5%, right? That's New York. New York is way ahead of the game in community solar when it comes to the nation, right? So if you look at that map, you just see what's going to happen is the customers that get on early adopters are going to be the ones that say, oh my God, I got on the community solar in 2024. I got a 20% or a 10% or whatever it is, right? It will be different 2 years from now. People will not be getting the savings that they're getting today. Who knows what the commissions will be, but we've seen it. New York is less than it is in Maine, right? Different states are going to have different requirements. It's going to be plug in. That's all I can say is plug into this gold rush. We have the tools. We are going to provide the tools, right? All the digging stuff that you need to mine gold. And that's what we're doing. We're mining community solar gold.
Hey guys,
I
you're
have
over
a question.
Chicago.
I have a question. I'm calling from I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Yep.
My name is Julio. I know that we're doing the LMI just for Virginia. I just wanted to know, by any chance, is that going to be for the full length of the project, or is that going to be something that we can open up later on for to the public, to anybody?
It's all about the legislation in the state. Legislation right now requires it's just LMI qualified, but what you're seeing is there's huge demand. We're building it. The Think Energy is building the demand for these solar farms, literally. And we're going to have a huge part of the market because of that. So as the state goes on and other states start to put on their programs, they have open and LMI. So there's more than likely the legislation will adopt open enrollments as the Virginia market gets really going. So the more we can do to prove demand, the more pressure there's going to be on open enrollment for everybody.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hey,
I got a
this is,
question, like, just couple, two quick questions. Firstly, it seemed to be that in Virginia and in Illinois, just to clarify, the length of time is only for 5 years, not for 20 years. Is that correct?
No, so there's two things. Every one of our community solar programs, the customer benefit
About a
is
minute ago.
20 years. So the
Go
customer is
ahead.
going to get the savings for 20 years. But what we're talking about is when we talk about our compensation plan, we get points for enrolling customers. And those points accumulate, and there's a 5-year clock on the points to stay for the qualification in the comp plan. So when the customer gets allocated to the farm and they pay their first bill that has the solar credit on it, that starts the 5 years on the point. Now, if we manage some projects, it could change. It could be longer, but the minimum will be 5 years.
Got it, understood. And second question I had was, do we know, because just seeing that the bill from Illinois only has on supply, not on delivery as well with a discount. Do we know which states are what, just in terms of talking to customers, letting them know what we're offering them?
Yeah, I know that in all the other states that we're in, New York, New Jersey, Maryland so far, and Maine, the discount applies to the entirety of the bill except for taxes and ancillary charges.
Right.
Okay, looks like ComEd or Illinois is the one that is just applicable to the supply portion. And that's probably because of the legislation that they have out there with the utilities and everything. That's more than likely the reason why.
Correct.
Understand. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Hey, this is Leanne from Oklahoma, and I just have a quick question for you, Ed. My question is, so I reached out to a friend in Illinois. I was so excited. And I reached out to her and she said, well, I'm already on a solar farm. And I was like, what? So my question is, can she switch and be my customer? Will it be advantageous to her? Or, if she's already on a farm, could she possibly be saving more? And can she switch to be my customer?
In a general rule, I would say if somebody's allocated to a farm, you leave them there. We don't want to poach customers. If they've already gone onto a farm and they're in the process of doing it, just let them go. It's unfortunate, but there's like, if you had to take a temperature, maybe 1 out of 100 people are on a farm, if that. So you found the one friend that's actually.
I would congratulate her on making a smart choice.
I would too. And I would say, listen, I can't do anything for you. You're already in good shape. I don't want to just disrupt the flow. But what I can ask you is get me some referrals and jump into the business with me. You already know how good it works. So let's get you in it as an advisor and let's get you sharing the benefits with other people.
Absolutely.
Eddie, you're a perfect example. Eddie has been on community solar for 2 years now.
I can't be a Think Energy customer.
Because he can't give up the discount that he got because he's an early adopter 2 years ago.
How are you?
Yeah, but
Yeah, you called me at a bad time. I'm on a call at the moment.
All right.
Hey, Bill?
Yeah.
So, quick question with the certification, myself and I know a few of my advisors, it said we passed the certification for community solar, but I know when I uploaded my picture, I never got anything that said you successfully uploaded. And two of my guys said that they couldn't upload. They said there was an error. Is there any way where we can check to see that everything was done?
Yeah, so I built a new widget in the back office that's going to show your ID badge. Like you should be able to log in now and see it. I don't know if they pushed that live yet, but If they haven't, I'll double check, but email EA support about this and then I'll follow up with the support team in the morning.
Okay.
That your badge
Like
gets.
I was gonna say that it's based on looks. And if you don't look good, it just rejects you.
Yeah, I'm in trouble then, Ed.
Oh, that's a tough one.
Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, I also wasn't able to upload any picture and I tried multiple
It's definitely
times.
not based on looks, okay?
Hey, you're on
Based on
Chicago.
widgets.
And I have one more question.
Yeah, I got a question also. So if we start off at the 5% and then a better program comes around through Think Energy and now it's 10 or 15, whatever it is. Obviously people are gonna come back and ask for that rate. What happened? How does that work?
I would say, Phil, I would just stop it by saying, it's not gonna happen. The rates that people are getting now with solar, community solar, they are gonna be the best that the state offers today. A year from now, 6 months from now, they're gonna be less. It's guaranteed almost 100%. When it comes to Think Energy Supply, that's a different story, right? That's gonna go up, it's gonna go down, it's gonna go all over the place, right? Over time. The community solar is you're locking in when you think about community solar, you're locking into, you're gonna get $100 discount and you're gonna pay $80 for it if you're in New Jersey, a 20% discount, right? Whatever the credit you get on your bill, right? It's gonna cost you 20% less or 5% less or 10% less. That's the way people have to think about this, is that you're getting credits. That nobody knows how much energy you're going to use, right? That we can base it on what you used last year. You're going to use a different amount this year. Maybe you got an electric car. Maybe you had an electric car and you lost it, right? So the company has to, over a 12-month period, figure that out. At the end of the day, the way community solar works is people get rebates or discounts and they pay a percentage less on it. That's as simple as it is. Right. It's really,
May I add, Jim, that they may never get on another farm if they hop off.
oh, they're 100%. And they definitely will not get, whatever rate they got. If they're on a farm today, it will be a lower discount going forward. It's clear that that's going to happen. We're in such a special space right now. The next 2 years, there's going to be amazing savings. People 10 years from now are going to be like, oh my God, I got on this farm in 2024. And it's insane. They're gonna be like, congratulations. Whoever asked that question, your friend is very smart that they got onto a farm when they did.
Right. But 5% is still very low compared to the entire country. I mean, we're doing, and it's just supply. And really is the lowest I think we have. So if other things, I'm just asking, because it could very well be, especially if the tax doesn't get filled, they're going to try to incentivize people more. So they might go to 10%, and there's no contract here. Obviously, there's no cancellation. So people will, I guess people, if they want, and if there's a better rate, people can come out and come back in. I'm just saying theoretically.
Yeah, theoretically, but here's the bottom line. If we're going to show what we show as the product going forward, right? Like we're going to show when someone goes through the cart, they're going to see what they're going to get at a minimum of 5%, right? If we get a farm, an off farm, like a special farm deal that's 10%, whoever enrolls and gets allocated to that farm is going to get the 10%. We can't manage all the different farms out there in a uniform practice. So it is what it is. It's kind of, we're in this stage of, Illinois has actually been live with community solar, believe it or not, for probably about 4 years. So it's kind of a mature market, not in the sense that there's a lot of people that are on farms, but it's been available for a lot of people for a long period.
And one thing that's really good in Illinois, doing the research, most of all the other companies are dual billing.
Yeah, Arcade, we got a great deal with our partner there. So, we're in, like I say, kind of the Wild West where when Jimmy said plug in is the key word, because we're in a very fluid situation. We're going to be launching new markets, not only just through the end of March, but as legislation passes in different states, we're going to be moving into new markets. New markets are going to pop up. So from a business builder perspective, the best thing that you can do is cast a wide net of advisors in different places, diversify your business, because you know, things are going to be hot in certain places and they're going to be, you know, mature in others. Like New York is so easy to get customers there. It's so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, but it's 5%. So, you know, the markets that are 20% are early adopter markets. Those are the ones that are require dual billing for a period of time until consolidated billing is approved. So we've got the kind of the best of both worlds, but we are leading the charge in this whole space. Like Think Energy, Michael Falquist saw the vision of all these different developers having one unique challenge. How do we get customers enrolled? So he figured, let's put a business together to tie and become the hub for all these different developers. And that's really what we have here. We are the hub for tons of different developers to plug into to get a constant flow of new customers to fill these farms. Pretty genius program. And to get into the business, the barriers to entry, huge. It's not like going out and getting a supply license. This is significant, complex stuff. That's why we have Phil. Phil is the man that can make the complex as simple as it can be for all of us.
Can you tell my wife that? That would be.
Men are
This
from
is
Mars,
Dave
women
and
are from Venus or whatever.
even David.
Okay, can I just make a
Phil.
suggestion? We
Hey,
are,
hey, hey, Dave has a question. Dave has a question. Dave was first.
So my question is, I have a good friend who has a sports bar in Illinois. Can you put small commercial in this?
Not yet. We're strictly residential as it stands right now. As time goes on and the rules change in the states for maybe allowing some small commercial, we will come out with a robust, commercial. But right now we're keeping it simple.
Okay.
What about a small church?
I mean, let's put it this way. You can take the time to go through the enrollment process and if it gets qualified, great. There's no downside to that. I don't think, Phil, am I speaking out of tune?
There's no downside.
Good evening.
okay, my suggestion was we are, raising our hands. If everybody would just follow the protocol, I think everything would go a lot smoother. If people would just wait
True
their
that.
turn.
You're
Okay.
absolutely right.
Thank you.
100%,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I see, okay, so it's my turn now, thank you. I see I had a question, but I also see it in the chat. If there are people that are on emergency assistance state plans, are they still eligible for the solar, even if the plan is not a solar program? And can they double their savings by doing so?
Are these people that are paying the utility bill themselves or is the state paying for them?
I believe the state is paying for them, or they are, getting some type of assistance from the state, but it may not be solar. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're just helping them with their bill. Are they still eligible for the solar program?
You know what? I don't know the answer to that question.
I think the answer is yes. In Illinois, when it comes to solar, I think the answer is 100% yes. When it comes to supply, then there might be an issue. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's a good answer, Jim, on that, because in all the states, community solar is designed as a discount that is independent of all other programs. So it's definitely, when people have a discount from another source, another program within the state, they're still qualified for community solar discounts.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Thank you.
100%. On the supply in Illinois, it might be an issue, and that's, again, a state by state, a reason to plug in, understand your zip code.
Okay, great,
Except
guys.
for the
Thanks a lot.
Except for the state of Maine. In the state of Maine, you cannot be a retail electric customer and be a community solar customer at the same time.
Correct.
I have a question.
Who's that? Is it? I think Bobby had his hand up there.
Hey, how's it going, sir? From here in Hampton, Virginia, it's got maybe a handful of questions. So once they sign up, how long does it take for them to see that on their bill? Is that like the next month?
It might take a couple of billing cycles before they
Okay.
actually realize the benefit. So first they have to get allocated, and then it can take a couple of bill cycles for them to start seeing the discount on the bill.
Okay, that makes sense. And then for like opportunity zones or free reduced lunches, how would they prove that?
So there's all kinds of documentation. They'll have like emails and other forms that they get when they got allocated for those programs. They can reach out to those programs and they'll be able to provide that proof. They can also take a photo of their card, those things as well.
Okay, I'm assuming the opportunity zone would be once they put in their zip code.
The product will be there, correct?
Okay, and then the last question I had is, what about like duplexes that are LMI, where it had like maybe 1 or 2, 3 people living in them, but owned by a, like a separate person?
Yep.
Do those still count?
So one of the things I know, and I've been pretty experienced in this, is like, if I went to a housing authority, this is a good tip for anybody who knows people who have housing authorities or nonprofits that cater to people that need assistance and stuff. You can go directly to the main source if they pay all the meters, and you can get all of them qualified through kind of a bulk situation. That's going to take a little finessing. It's going to take customer service involvement, but that's a great gig because you can get a bunch of meters all at one fell swoop.
Okay, I appreciate you.
You got it. I want to say,
Ask that question again. Can you repeat that?
What was that?
Can you repeat what you just said with regards to the multiple dwelling? I think I was listening to it.
Yeah, like housing authorities,
Yes.
they pay the bills for all of the houses that people are in. They are the ones that control that bill. They can get blanket qualification for LMI, but it takes a little work. We have to work with them directly, and we can get them all qualified. Like I've closed some housing authorities down in Maryland, and some ARCs and some other nonprofits that deal with like cerebral palsy and things like that. And 50, 100 units, houses, they can switch them all over with qualifying for LMI because they have kind of this blanket qualification, but it's going to take working with corporate to finesse that over the
Thank you,
line.
because I'm here in New Jersey, so I'm in the Newark area. So there are a lot of LMI communities where there are let's say drug rehab centers and homes for mothers. And I wanted to make sure that that as I present this, I'll talk to my upline later to make sure that we have it nice and tight before I make that leap. But thank you.
You bet. I think it was Fabiola next.
Hi, thank you.
Take two more questions. Fabiola.
So, yeah, hi, thank you. So I just wanted to recap here really quickly, see if I understand well. Where the community solar is taken off the usage of the total or the total bill? Which one? Because I understood from the beginning that it was from the total bill.
It's from the supply portion of the bill.
In the state.
In
The
the state of
supply, I
Illinois.
meant.
In the state of Illinois.
It's different in different states, lady.
Yep.
Okay, I'm talking about Illinois right now. Illinois, I thought it was just the total bill, but now I'm understanding it's just the supply.
It's just the supply.
Yep.
Okay, and since I'm in rooftop solar, I do hear a lot of people lately that, okay, I do have community solar. So I'm trying to understand, what do we have over those companies, or what those companies have over us?
I don't know. I mean, we are who we are. I don't know the particulars about other companies. I just know that the best way to get this product into the marketplace is through the marketing channel that we have, which is kind of friends and family.
And I think an answer to that is what we have is the community. We have Think Energy as a community and a company, where it's not just about one little thing. It's about so many different aspects. It's not just about Illinois, it's about the whole world or the country, or 14 states for energy, but then multiple for community solar. It's about building. So that's what we have over everybody else that's out there, is that nobody else has that, right? Everybody else is on your own individual efforts. This is about building a team.
Okay, and finally, what is Arcadia exactly? Because I don't understand.
They are the IPP. They're fulfilling the community solar. They're the ones that are managing the farms. We are working with them to bring their community solar products available to the market. So you're going to find that there are a whole host of independent power producers and fulfillers that we bring onto our platform to make available to our customers. We've gone down this road of trying to create the one-stop shop for all things community solar and make sure that all of those products are available to our network and to all of you. And so Arcadia is one of those partners that we've partnered with to make more community solar products available.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions? All right.
I have a
think,
question.
Royaline is next. And we'll take one more after Royaline. Is Royaline available? You have to unmute yourself, Royaline, if you're there. All right, how about Nuevis?
Hello?
Yes, is that Royaline?
It is. It's my turn.
Hey, you're up. You're up, kid.
I wanted to ask that as an advisor, are we able to enroll ourselves in the solar farm?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question, Royaline. I am going to give you some really good news. Well, of course you can, first of all, and I advise you do that immediately, if not sooner, provided that you're in one of our community solar markets. Where do you live, Royaline?
Illinois.
Then tomorrow morning, wakey, eggs and bakey.
Okay, thank you so much.
You betcha.
That was it.
Royaline, you could be the first in Illinois.
You could be.
Bingo.
That is, somebody, Phil, somebody will be the first in Illinois, correct?
So what are we talking about? Are we talking about 9 in the morning, 9 Eastern Standard?
Is it after midnight? Because tomorrow's my birthday. I'll stay up.
Oh, Phil, don't make her stay up. Phil, give her the real deal. Give her the real deal.
Hold on one second.
Let's give everybody the real deal.
Did you get certified?
Oh, yes. The only thing I haven't done, I've got to take a photo. I'm going to go and take the photo from the post office because it has to be for like your passport size.
Yeah, you can take a selfie. Like the requirements are similar to your passport photo. We just don't want people putting inappropriate photos. That's all.
Oh, well, I could have done that when I passed the test then.
There you go. And by the way, set your alarm for 1 a.m. That's when it's going live.
I'll be up.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roy.
All right, last question from Nuevis Ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening. From Virginia. From Virginia, clients with children at the school, they take lunch. They can present a letter from the school to apply for energy, like government services.
Yes. So since they're getting the assisted school lunches, you would qualify for LMI.
Thank you, because this is my Hispanic community mostly.
Yep.
Totally.
Excellent. Yep. Awesome.
There is one more important question that I gotta know. Is this thing renewable every year, like the solar farm? That I haven't heard anybody ask. Is this an annual renewable? Because if it is, then the other guy, Haran, that was asking about the other percentage, if it's renewable, then I can switch a farm in a year, correct? Or can I not?
When you enroll, you get the benefit for 20 years. You don't have to do anything else. You're just on the farm. You're going to get the benefit for 20 years. If you leave the farm there's no cost to leave it. There's no handcuffs here, but you're going to get the benefit. You don't have to take action once a year to continue the benefit. It just automatically happens.
Got it. So just renew their supply charge and keep them on the farm, period. Have a good night.
Great question.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead. One last one.
If you move, can you take it with you?
Great question. If you move, can you take it with you? Yes, provided that we are a community solar provider in that new area that you move. And if we're not, you can benefit by the new homeowner. You can advertise the house as on community solar and just make a quick call to customer care and transfer the spot to a new homeowner.
Okay, thanks.
I had a quick question about the residuals of community solar, because I think it said like that you don't get residuals on it as an agent, but you get the money for the first switchover or whatever, but not the residuals like the electricity account. Is that true?
So yes and no, right? So if you really understand our comp plan, the way to earn more money in our comp plan is by moving up the rank system. And you need points to move up the rank system. So every customer you enroll for community solar is a point that you're going to keep, and it's going to help you move up the ranks so you can earn more money for your business. So it doesn't actually tie back to an actual residual every month, but because we're giving that point system away, it's able to move you up the ranks where you can earn more money for the business that you do and the teams that you build.
So basically you get the money for them switching over, whatever band that it is or whatever. And then you get the points that stay, like you just mentioned, that points, like say I switch over 5 people to community solar or whatever, then I'll get the little bonuses for switching them over as long as it's over the usage that you said, 1,500 a year or whatever. And then those points, the 5-year clock starts whenever I switch them. And then after that, then whatever.
Yeah, as soon as they start benefiting from being on the farm is when the clock starts. When you sign up a customer, you get your commission. It's a flat commission for each customer in each market. It's different in each market, right? Some are $60, some are $80, some are $120. One is $120 Maine. And when you enroll a customer, the minute you enroll them and they qualify, the following Friday, you're going to get half the commission. Okay. When they get put on the farm and they pay their first bill with community solar credits on it, you get the other half. So you're right now, people have been
get half and the other half, and then the points. And the points.
And you get the points. You get the points. You got it.
Okay. And my last question is about the I'm in Texas, but I'm from California. I heard they got the Cali thing coming out, but I'm in Texas right now. But I tried to switch somebody over, and we say, oh, they don't gotta pay no deposit or nothing. And it came back that they were supposed to pay some kind of deposit or whatever. And like what happens with that? Is that kind of based off of their old company? If they owed the old company they were switching over, or is it based off of credit or what? Because some people have to pay it and some people don't. Like, what is that?
Correct. It's typically a credit issue. It's only for electricity. Okay. And it's only in Texas. So Texas is a market where we are fully liable for the customer payments, right? Because we bill them. It's the one state that we're with electricity where we actually bill the customer. So we take a liability on every customer. Sometimes if it is based on their utility credit score, is based on whether we're going to charge them, a deposit or not.
Okay. That makes sense. So and then the early termination fee thing, how does that work? I know they have to be in a market that has that plan, the ETF plan, but then say they get the ETF plan and, they get the ETF plan and they have an early termination because they're switching over, and that plan pays up to $200. And when does that pay? Does it pay like when they get their first bill or what?
That Phil, is that after 6 months of being on the service is good pay?
Correct. With the ETF busters, that's correct.
So as long as that customer's on our plan for 6 months and they've paid their bill, then we'll bust their termination fee.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You bet. All right,
And-
everyone.
And I
let's-
just posted in the chat, we'll continue a 1 hour community solar Q&A tomorrow on the Tuesday call for help, 1 PM to 2 PM Eastern.
And that is always on the thinksuccess.plus calendar. Go to events and you can see all the events that occur at the entire company, whether it's a physical event or an online event. And you can just click on the link. You'll be right in there. Q&A is every Tuesday at 1 PM Eastern Standard Time.
That's probably the most important call that people should know, because that's plugging in, right? Because
That's plugging in.
That's plugging in, that's getting the updates on whatever the markets that you're getting. Where it's gonna be fluent over the next years to come. It's gonna be,
And also,
Phil, thank you, buddy. Thank you for all your
Hey, I
help.
got one question about the badges. Do I need one badge for each different market, or do I get, like, since I'm in Texas and I get a Texas badge, is that gonna be good if I go, my brother lives in Rhode Island. So when I go to Rhode Island, do I need to get a Rhode Island badge, or I can keep my same one?
the Illinois badge is a regulatory requirement, so we have to make sure that you have a badge available to you. So that's why we have that at the end of the certification process.
Okay.
And so in your back.
I'll get it done
Can-
probably tomorrow.
Can I wear the badge like out on dates? You know, like when I,
You know
take it-
what?
email,
If
you
you
know,
do, and you take a selfie with your date,
yeah,
hashtag the
yeah,
network
there you go. Exactly.
for you. We will make sure your date knows how great you are.
Oh, yes,
They'll
thank
know
you.
you're electrifying.
Well, you guys did a good job tonight. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Just
Yeah, you guys did a great job. Thanks a lot. A lot of information.
Thank you all. Tony, I hope you're ready for tomorrow.
Give the Illinois location.
Wait,
Yes,
Phil,
we
did you have
will.
one more thing to say, Phil?
Five ever.
Remind them about Thursday, Maryland and Rhode Island.
Yep, Maryland, Rhode Island, Thursday night, 9 o'clock. Game on.
Jersey Wednesday, New Jersey Wednesday. With this, look at the calendar. The calendar is like booked this week with live presentations, 8 o'clock Zooms, whatever you want. There's whatever you want. You want in person, you got it. You want virtual, you got it. Take advantage of it.
Illinois location tomorrow. Where is it?
Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Tomorrow, Lombard, it's at the Embassy Suites Hotel in Lombard, Illinois, right across from the Yorktown Mall.
No,
Yeah.
they're just going over. I had to ask one question and I did not know it. So I have to do it because I'm sending messages to Illinois. You need to have a photo uploaded. So Bonnie, you're an advisor, right? So you're not a customer.
This is
All right.
night.
right.
All.
Guys
It
and
was a
gals.
great night.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
We'll
Phil.
see you guys on Wednesday.
Night, everybody.
Got it.
Forward to it.
Thank you. Good night. It was awesome.
Cheers, all.
Tony, great.
Good night.
Phil,
Thank
you.
Thank
you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Night all.